A creature weighing 900 kilograms charges straight into the trunk of a mature tree. It uses its horns to rip through the bark, tears up the ground with its gigantic hooves, and smashes down everything in its path. What on earth is happening here? For decades, humans poured in millions of dollars, brought in chainsaws and excavators, and applied every modern forestry technique available to save this forest that was slowly losing its vitality, but every effort failed. Until they decided to stop and released 4 European bison, an animal that had been completely absent here for 6,000 years, into the restricted zone. In less than 30 days, these 4 creatures triggered a spectacular chain of ecological reversal that science could not replicate. So what is the secret beneath those powerful physical impacts? Step into the 560-hectare ancient woodland of West Blean in southern England, and the first thing you see is a lush green scene. The canopy rises high and interlocks tightly, blocking out the sky. The ground is covered in a soft layer of dry leaves. Everything looks peaceful and intact. But that outward appearance is an ecological illusion. Scientists call this phenomenon green desert syndrome. Many decades ago, humans intervened here aggressively by planting high-value non-native tree species for commercial timber production. After harvesting, the area was neglected. As a result, the canopy above grew denser and denser, sealing shut completely. Not a single ray of sunlight could break through to reach the forest floor. In nature, light is the currency of life. Without light, small plants, wildflowers, and low-growing shrubs die out completely. Then the food chain collapses. Hundreds of native insect species disappear. Birds, with no food left, are forced to migrate. Bats lose their shelter. The forest turns into a hollow shell, green on top, but completely stripped of life below ground. Humans tried to fix the damage. Conservation experts brought chainsaws and tractors into the forest to cut down trees and clear undergrowth. Light flooded in, and the vegetation recovered. But only a few years after funding stopped, the canopy closed again. Worse still, the weight of the heavy machinery compacted the soil, destroying the vast underground root fungus network, the communication and nutrient transfer system of the entire forest. The more they intervened with technology, the weaker the forest became. They needed a machine that could work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, produce no carbon emissions, demand no wages, and reshape the physical structure of the forest. The European bison is the largest land animal on the continent. Do not confuse it with the American bison that lives on vast grasslands. The European bison was designed to be a dense forest engineer. But to make the campaign to bring this engineer back to England in the modern era a reality, the world had to pay a heavy price. In the 20th century, humans pushed this animal to the brink of extinction with their own hands. In 1919, the last bison in the Polish forest was hunted until it vanished. In 1927, the last wild individual on Earth was wiped out in the Caucasus Mountains. The European bison officially became extinct in the wild. Salvation came only from 54 weak survivors left in zoos. Genetic experts discovered a shocking truth: all 54 of those animals shared ancestry from exactly 12 founding bison. Just 12 animals carried the burden of saving an entire species from the edge of total extinction. After nearly a century of extremely careful crossbreeding, the current population has reached 7,000 wild individuals spread across European countries. Releasing 4 of these animals, including 1 adult male and 3 females, carrying this precious genetic lineage into a forest in England, was not a simple act of compassion. It was an objective and precise ecological calculation. The bison were not beneficiaries, they were tools. The moment they passed through the fenced gate, they began to work, and what happened in less than a month left the research team astonished. The true power of the European bison does not lie in the size of its body, but in the combination of 4 exclusive physical behaviors. These 4 behaviors operate like a nuclear chain reaction, awakening an ecosystem that has long been asleep. The deadwood-making machine. Bison love tearing bark from living woody trees. They use their teeth and horns to scrape deep grooves, severing the tree's sap flow. The tree slowly declines, but does not fall, creating what are known as standing dead trees. In ecology, a standing dead tree is worth 10 times more than a living tree. It becomes a giant apartment complex for more than 2,000 species of beetles, bats, and decomposer fungi. In nature, creating one standing dead trunk takes many decades. Bison create it in just a few days. The canopy breaker. Males weighing nearly 1 ton will ram over entire medium-sized trees. This action tears open a massive hole in the canopy. Suddenly, after 50 years of darkness, blazing columns of light pour straight down to the ground. Seeds that have lain dormant for half a century begin to germinate at once. A new microclimate forms right in the heart of the forest, the creator of bare ground. Instead of moving in straight lines, bison like to throw themselves onto the ground, rolling and plowing through it with their coarse fur and hooves. The muddy surface is churned up, exposing patches of mineral-rich bare earth. For solitary bees, small amphibians, and pioneer seeds, the mud pits made by bison are survival oases. Bare ground, free of tangled roots, allows tiny organisms to lay eggs and build nests with ease. Unlike tractor tracks, which often crush microbes and earthworms, bison hooves create tiny water-holding pools after every rainfall, supplying instant clean water to tens of thousands of low-level organisms. The invisible seed disperser. Human machinery only knows how to cut and clear, but a bison is a magnificent vehicle for seed transport. Through its selective grazing habits, seeds cling to its dense coat and fall far away, miles from where they began. Inside its enormous digestive system, seeds are warmed and incubated, and when they are released, they come wrapped inside a perfect package of fertilizer. Theoretical calculation is one thing, but when the real-world data came back, scientists realized the ancient woodland was operating in a strange way, beyond human imagination. The results came at breathtaking speed. Within just a few weeks after the first bison churned up the ground, dung beetle larvae appeared in cow pats in numbers too great to count. Native fungi sprouted in as little as 48 hours. Infrared camera data from the Ecological monitoring program returned numbers that spoke for themselves. After the first year, the number of common lizards surged from 36 to 58. The encounter rate for grass snakes increased fourfold. A series of extremely rare spider species, including one not recorded in England since 2004, mysteriously reappeared. Plant species not seen in this area for many generations began to bloom in the light things. The food chain was rebuilding its broken links on its own. Only a few months after the project began, the greatest miracle happened. The lead female gave birth to a wild calf. This was the first bison born naturally in a forest in England in many thousands of years, and it did not stop there. In the short years that followed, the herd kept welcoming new generations of life. This rate of growth shattered every prediction made by veterinary experts. That reproduction confirmed that the ecosystem was supplying more than enough nutrients for a giant herbivore species to grow its herd. However, this success created a fierce collision in aesthetic thinking. For centuries, humans have held a mistaken idea about nature. We assume that a beautiful and healthy forest must look neat and orderly, with clear paths, tidy trees, and no broken or fallen branches. But bison do not create a tidy forest. They turn the forest into a chaotic worksite, littered with broken trees, shredded bark, and heavily churned soil and stone. This picture directly challenges the human view, but scientists understand one thing: primal nature is not tidy at all. Physical disorder and destruction are the very conditions required for biodiversity to explode. The messier a place is, the more brilliantly life flourishes there. In reality, releasing a giant creature weighing 900 kilograms into a densely populated continent is not simple at all. The United Kingdom's Dangerous Wild Animals Act sets strict rules. Bison are not allowed to share the same walking space with the public. To overcome those strict legal barriers, conservationists had to design an unprecedented infrastructure system: forest overpasses. People walk safely above, while the massive bison herd moves freely and plows the ground below. Hidden electric fences woven into the canopy were installed to ensure that absolutely no encounters would take place between visitors and the ancient beasts. But why were they willing to accept so much risk and legal complexity? The answer lies in a brutal economic equation. This model is becoming a global trend. While the United States or Australia must spend billions of dollars every year on mechanical systems to prevent wildfires, many European countries are using herbivores instead. From the wetlands of the Netherlands to the Carpathian Mountains of Romania, the use of large animals for rewilding is being judged as the ecological investment strategy with the highest economic return. Unlike industrial machinery, bison produce no carbon emissions and operate continuously without maintenance. Through their habit of consuming dry vegetation and using their body weight to compact the soil and retain water, They automatically establish natural fire breaks and drought barriers. This is a superior climate adaptation strategy that no artificial technology can replace. Are you ready to face the final truth? That everything we have ever learned about protecting nature may have been wrong from the very beginning? The story of this 560-hectare forest carries meaning far beyond the borders of England. It is an important scientific demonstration of how humans should change the way global ecosystems are managed. Instead of continuing to rely on machinery powered by fossil fuels that disrupts underground microbial structure, experts are choosing to minimize artificial intervention. Bison are seen as the perfect biological machine, refined through millions of years of evolution, helping the land surface increase metabolic exchange and retain large amounts of carbon underground. Without human direction, the instinctive system embedded in their DNA will operate automatically. The generations of bison born here will instinctively recognize the most nutrient-rich bark, locate the right patches of earth to create water-holding depressions, and replace machinery in continuing to reshape the forest floor. By the year 2050, when the first generations of bison have completed their life cycle, the landscape here will have changed its structure completely. It will return to its true primary form, not flat, physically complex, but possessing the highest level of biodiversity. This is proof that nature always has the ability to heal itself when given enough space and time. This rewilding project has proven an important principle. The key to restoring ecosystems is not increasing intervention, but reducing human control. A species that once declined to a critical point, with only 12 founding individuals, is now becoming the center of restoring the biological structure of thousands of years ago. However, interfering with the food chain does not always produce results as safe as this bison project. In the next video, we will examine the case file of a top predator that was once completely removed by humans, and what powerful ecological impacts occurred when it was returned to the wild to restore the original balance. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss the most astonishing ecological case files. See you again!